You are now listening to Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, the voice for the people. Join Richie alongside co-host property damage attorney Hans Kennon as they bring light to the taboo world of big insurance companies, exposing their tactics and fighting for justice. Hear stories from contractors across the state. Contractor Talk, here to protect homeowners and uncover the truth.
All right. Welcome to the show, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, live, 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial if you're listening here locally in the Central Florida area. You have a couple other shots at the show. If you've missed it here live locally, we play it on streaming, on iTunes, on Spotify. It goes on our podcast and our website, contractortalkpodcast.com. You can find us also on YouTube. Like us, subscribe us there. You can be able to watch the video as we film it here live, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. every Monday night. And then again, like I said, we'll distribute to all the other ways that you can listen to it in case you missed the live show. And of course, you always want to check in on our YouTube page so you can find out what Hans is wearing today in his dapper suit of the day of the week. There we go, live shot over there, Annabelle, good job. So if you do anything, you then want to like, subscribe us there, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell there on YouTube. So it's always having a great show, great members that are on the show with us. We interview a different member that's within our industry, whether it be a public adjuster, whether it be a roofer, whether it be an electrician, a drywall guy, plumbers, HVAC. We have it here on our show, so you can check us out on Spotify. It's the easiest way to search. You can find different shows there with different topics and folks that we've interviewed, different specialty within our industry. We do kind of throw around what's going on in the industry today on every show, and I'm telling you, we're in the middle of our legislative session right now, and we're checking out what's going to happen. We've seen some big news, I would say, finally swinging in the direction of the consumer, suggesting that we might have some law changes that the legislators are going to push up to our governor that may change the way that consumers are able to recover from their insurance. If you guys remember, we've had a fake crisis over the past couple of years, and which they are basically crying, the insurance companies and property specifically that we're talking about, were crying poor mouth when we all find out that the right hand was the one that was being fed, meaning they overpaid their subsidiaries, which had no cap on any profits. Surprisingly enough, cooking the books, only showing about an average of 4.5% on the profits on their main company, and then overpaying the subsidiaries billions and billions of dollars to force this fake crisis in a way that then they can still raise our insurance premiums and then have no way to really recover from them in case they were found to be wrong. As you saw in 2022, they took away a lot of our rights, which included attorney's fees. And Hans, you know that very well. You were telling people in the beginning, or for so many years, 25 plus years, that I won't take anything of your pie.
Yeah.
If they were wrong, then I will get you every dollar that in which they were wrong. And they will pay me for attorney's fees and costs that took me to get there, right?
Yeah, they got a pie, I got a pie. It all worked out how it's supposed to, because the insurer should be held to really a higher standard. When they're adjusting someone's claim, they should treat them fairly, treat them in good faith, and my client should not have to pay me to get the money they already were owed.
That's right. I mean, it's the beginning of it talked about the taboo world of insurance, and it is thinking about that. It's so taboo to think about not having attorney's fees paid when they are wrong. Yeah. And we talk about this a lot on property, but they stripped away the rights for everything: auto, life
insurance,
medical. So if you have a dispute in any of those forms of insurance, you have to pay your own way. You have to buy your own attorney, buy your own experts, and whatever it takes to get there.
No, it's obviously a big change. We're hoping that this year, and I got a text today from Associated Industries of Florida about one of the attorney fee bills. So my feeling is there must be some groundswell now growing for that. We can chat about that in a little bit. But yeah, we got a text today to call my senator to say no to Senate Bill 426, and I went, somebody's getting nervous.
What list are you on?
On a lot of lists. But I mean, if you don't know what the enemy's doing, then then shame on me.
Right.
But yeah, so I actually got one today that did. It was from Associated Industries. Well, we might as well. We got a second here. Let me pull this up. Liberal billboard trial lawyers. That's how it starts. I'm like, okay. Are trying to hijack Florida's court system and turn our insurance market into California's. I'm not sure what all those words mean together, in all honesty. But we have to stand strong with Governor DeSantis. Please call Jason Broder now and tell him to stand with Florida consumers and stop SB 426.
Wow.
And I'm like, that bill is meant to put attorney's fees back in to allow me to recover my fees and costs from the insurance company and not my client. Mm-hmm. And they literally, I mean, that's what I always find so blatant about this. Stand with Florida consumers and turn down a bill that would pay your fees and costs. Keep the predatory trial lawyers out of our pockets.
Wow.
Which is funny because literally what that should say is keep the predatory insurance companies out of your pocket. Because right now what they're doing is if they deny your claim, you're coming to me and you're paying me fees and costs. They're the ones who are in your pocket if you have a claim.
No kidding.
I mean, but it was just, I saw it and I was just like, and then I was looking to see, but again, and Senate Bill 426 is the Senate essentially companion bill to 1551, right? I think
that's right. No,
1551 in the House, which does essentially the same thing. So by getting this today, actually I felt good about it because to me it seems like that must mean that there's some other movement on it to make Associated Industries, and I love those names, Associated Industries. It sounds like how friendly they must be. I mean, and they're just cutthroat there. They're
right.
Just
they're definitely one-sided and not really disclosing both sides. Anyway, we won't even go there. It is exciting to see possible movement in the Senate. I was getting a little nervous, even reaching out to the House representative who's hosting the bill, Representative Cassell. She's an attorney, understands all ways of it. She's a plaintiff attorney and understands this. And she's been and she's been on the consumer side, consumer advocate for quite a while now. And so it's frustrating to see it move in the House, but not moving in the Senate at all. Yeah. And I think I was looking at it today as well as you, and did see that it's been referred to banking and insurance in the Senate. That's the first stopping point, and it has 2 more points after that.
Right.
In the House, it's almost done. I think it went through 2 committees, has 1 more to go through, and it'll be ready to give over to the Speaker for signature, and then be ready to send over to the Senate if it goes through the distance there, which still has a little over a month left. So
actually,
there's
we have till May 6th. So we got. Well, I guess tomorrow is April 1st, isn't it? Yeah, it is. We have 37 days.
We do.
But 37 days, and the thing, a whole session is only 60, so it's not like it's been going on for months and months and months. We're not getting movement. We're not even halfway done until the 6th of April.
Right. I just know when you're halfway through it, if you're trying to get it off the ground, it's going to be a big lift.
It is.
If it's got some legs already, then it's very possible that it can get done all in that time. It has some other bills that have been filed this year. It's not getting any movement, thank goodness. One is like a mandatory mediation before you go to suit, where each side pays their own way.
Which is insane because the statute right now, with the Department of Financial Services, allows you to go to mediation as an insured for free.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I'm like, wait. So now you're going to take a free service.
Break it in half.
The insurance company actually pays $300.
Exactly.
Just so we're clear, the insurance company pays $300 to the state of Florida to provide, I think, $350 for the mediator, $50 for the fee to the state. They pay it. So I'm like, you want a bill that's going to literally make people take money? It's bad if you take away their claim rights. Now you're going to make them pay money out of their pocket in order to go to mediation with the state, which until the governor might sign that bill has been free.
Right. And make it mandatory before you file suit.
Right.
So not good at all. And we talk about this on the show a lot, to where if you are confused on your policy, you can call an attorney. you can call a public adjuster to talk to you about what is covered under your policy and what is not. It's always a good starting point at that place to say, okay, this is the type of damage I have. Where do I stand within my policy? And one to talk about that is a new upcoming member of the Restoration Association of Florida, Angel with A2Z Estimates. What's going on, Angel?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good.
Awesome.
Glad to have you.
Awesome. Very good. I mean, A2Z Estimates. I mean, when you think about that, what pops on my mind is like, okay, a line item detailed Xactimate estimate that's standard in this industry of insurance billing for property damages. But most people don't think like me. So explain a little bit about those complexities about what you do.
Yes. So basically in the insurance world, there's a lot of players that get involved in the claims process. You can have your public adjuster. You can have your attorney that assists the homeowners throughout the claims process. And you can also have companies that assist you in writing an estimate to present it to the insurance company in a manner that the insurance company is going to understand it and they're not going to fight you on it. So here at A2Z Estimates, we specialize in Xactimate estimates for public adjusters, for attorneys that need appraisal services, that need estimates done, that need possible estimates for mediations. We also work with restoration companies, and what we basically do is, depending on the client, some clients need a little bit more hands-on to help them. Hey, look, this is how we need to present the damages, and this is how we need to document the damages. Some other clients, they are a little bit more well-versed, and they just simply need an estimate done. So we have a plethora of services. They can be from drone footage. We can also assist with the estimates. We can also assist with the inspections. But that's pretty much what we offer. And it's a very good niche to be in because clients need good estimates written. So insurance companies fight you on that, and that's one less thing that you guys can argue about. So put the onus on us to go ahead and do that, and you guys can go ahead and take care of the rest as far as negotiating and settling the claims.
Nice. Now, as a public adjuster, do you then have the estimate written under your letterhead, or do you write them for the company specific and kind of ghostwrite them, or how does your services work?
It depends. So some clients would like the letterhead of their company on the actual estimate. Some clients want it blank. Some clients want our letterhead on it. So it really doesn't make a difference because at the end of the day, if this goes to litigation, we're going to put our face on there because we stand by our estimate. So if it's in there, there's a reason why.
Yeah, and that's where I was going. So if you have it on your letterhead, then you're likely to be one to call to talk about the estimate, how you put it together, where it all came from, line items, those types of things.
Correct.
Or so, a review against maybe the insurance company's estimate.
Absolutely. So that's part of our services as well. So I worked for a major carrier for many years for Travelers Insurance, and I worked for them for about 5 to 6 years, and I handled public adjusting estimates, and I learned the carrier guidelines. So a lot of times,
good insurance company.
Yeah, they actually are. I have nothing bad to say about Travelers. They're very good. They have a very good training program. They put you a year through the ringer, and until that year is done, you're solely trainee, right? Yeah, nice. So my background comes from there. So when I prepare the estimate, I keep these guidelines in mind. So whenever I do get deposed, they ask me, okay, where's your training from? My training comes from the other side, actually. Right. So it kind of shuts down the attorney to stop questioning my estimating abilities because it comes from their side, actually. So so we do assist with that as well. So I would sit down with the client, depending on their needs, and I would see, okay, what's the scope of repairs here? Mm-hmm.
Nice. And then you cover the Central Florida area, or are you covering the state of Florida? Where do you cover? So
we cover pretty much all of the U.S. because to provide estimating services, it's depending on the states, some states require for you to be a public adjuster or licensed to do so. So for the most part, we do service pretty much all 50 states. And we've also worked internationally in Mexico as well during Hurricane Otis. There's not a lot that we haven't seen. We've written in the past at least 2 years, at least 3,000 estimates. So we pretty much try to keep an idea as to what needs to be done, so you guys don't have to argue too much with the insurance company.
Nice, and you have that ability by folks sending you photos and measurements and all that, and then you can basically just do it from a desk review, so to speak.
That's absolutely right. So a lot of times clients, they can provide what's called Matterport or iGuide, and what we do is we present that to our sketcher, who's actually also a GC and an architect. So he makes these sketches right on the money. So that's one less thing that you can argue about. But it can be old school as well. It can be pen and paper, and you can just email me that as well, and we'll try to make it work. If we're missing any information, we'll call you, say, hey, I need the linear feet or for X, Y, and Z, or the measurement for this wall or whatnot. But for the most part, I encourage clients to use Matterport and iGuide because that speeds up the entire process.
Right. And nice.
Okay, so sorry. When I did a lot of auto property work before they took the fees away, and hopefully we'll get them back and we'll do some help with people. Did a lot of work helping people if their cars need to be totaled and they weren't, things along those lines. And when they would do repair estimates, the insurer would say, well, if I'm going to repaint this fender, it's basically 3 operations. Take it off, strip it, paint it, clear it maybe, put it back on the car. Everything else was called an included operation. When you go to the body shop, they go, we got to take it off, then we got to sand it, then we have to prime it, then we have to paint it, then we have to wet sand it, then we have to clear it, then we have to wet sand that, and obviously a lot more operations than the insurer said, and because we didn't look at them as included operations, we looked at them as being singular events for which there was compensation owed. You can't just lump it all together and go, paint fender, one charge. I'm always curious about scope. When you determine scope, things like 2 coats of paint, 1 coat of paint, prime, all those things. From where does all that come from?
So as far as coming up with a scope, I think about the guidelines that the insurance company has. So they normally don't argue about, if you're going to replace a drywall, texture it, sealing and painting it. What they argue a lot is continuous texture, right? So we try to focus on maintaining a uniform appearance that's considered pre-loss condition. So we try to keep that in mind when creating a scope. So let's say if you're going to replace a floor, right? Let's say a vinyl floor and you have to detach and reset the baseboard. As you said, there's extra steps that need to be taken in order for you to do that repair. So when you detach a baseboard, a lot of times that baseboard is going to be damaged, right? So the insurance company is always going to say, well, that's not direct physical loss. That's not a direct damage. That's a premise that falls short because that's not pre-loss condition, right? So part of that is just to replace a floor, you have to remove the baseboard, replace the floor. In the process of you removing the baseboard, you're going to damage the drywall. Exactly, drywall texture. So then you got to texture that entire wall or the walls that you're going to remove the baseboard on, or the continuous walls within that same room. Right. And if it's an open concept room, then we're going to continue and include those walls as well because we need to be brought to pre-loss condition. Right. So when I'm doing a scope, those are the things that I keep in mind because the carriers follow to a point those guidelines. So when I present it to them and I include F9 notes within the estimate explaining why I'm including the estimates, carriers tend to argue less on certain things.
Well, what's your view on continuous flooring until a threshold?
I would say if
I'm going to put you on the spot.
That's fine. No, that's great. No.
I'm like, oh, let's chat.
No. It's a very good question. So what I would do is it really depends. So continuous flooring to me would be a continuous floor with no breaks, even if you have a threshold there, right? But if the floor continues, it's continuous, right? So I include the continuous floor, and however, there are some areas where the floor stops, and then you may have a room that skips, and then you have the floor in that other room. I normally do not include that because that's a break there, right? So even though it's a different room, the proper thing, at least from the insurance training standpoint that I got my training from, is stop at that break. So once the floor stops there and it's a tile floor and then you have the floor continuous, I would stop there. Just to give the insurance company, say, hey, look, I'm trying to resolve this claim or create this estimate in a good faith. So you guys can go ahead and take the same approach, the insurance company, so we can get this resolved, right?
Because insurers like cutting you off at that first threshold. Like if there's a door, they're like, got a door.
Right. Yeah, it's either a door or like just a tiny threshold. It's like, even though it's the same exact floor, they're like, but there's still a small argument even if there is a break within a living room and on the other side because of the matching statute in the state of Florida. Correct. And so if it's continuous, then it truly needs to be continuous. And if they put the tile in 10, 20 years ago, there's no way you're going to find the same tile to be able to make it to look the same.
Well, it's funny, the matching statute, one of the few statutes that has the word shall and may. and basically in the same sentence. So I always think it's fascinating. Whoever drafted it, the insurer shall consider, and then it may. Then I think it says that then it may allow for it. I'm like,
Which one is it?
It can't shall. It can't shall. Well, we thought about it a lot,
Right.
but we decided not to do it. I mean, but
I was taught in mostly if it uses the word shall, then it's more of like government. In this way, you look at it as Florida Building Code kind of stuff, and that's how I look at it when you look at roofs. If there's a more than 25% damaged, then you shall replace the entirety of the roofing system. And so that's been argued so much to where they had to come out with an opinion on that, and it came out to where the Construction Licensing Board stated that upon review of all this, that 25% has to be damaged by the actual event.
not just the repair.
Exactly, not due to breakage of a small percentage from the repair or from cascading, which used to just find like find me one tile on the low slope of that that roofing system, we find you coverage for an entire roof, and that was just the way that you have to repair it to get to the underlayment to be able to replace the whole thing. Correct. So with that though, we've actually we have these defined, I think, and very well litigated I guess just whatever you want to call it here in the state of Florida. It's and how we look at that, the matching statutes, all those things is very, very clear. And you write in different states, so it's different in every state. I know if you cross the border to Georgia, it's not like that. They don't have matching. Correct.
So it really depends on the state. And when it's a state that I haven't ran an estimate per se too many on, I lean on a GC and just so I can get the accurate estimate completed. So a lot of times I may lean on a GC just to get that knowledge, or an attorney just so I can know, okay, what exactly can we write for that we are allowed to do under the state law, so and building codes under the state.
Right. And there's international building codes as well. Correct. That sometimes apply in places where there isn't code.
Correct. So let's say, for example, there's a claim that I'm assisting a GC on where we reached the policy limit, but because we are thinking outside of the box, we were able to get an additional limit found. Obviously, to us, it's common knowledge, but we were able to get them additional coverage under law and ordinance to get the framing repaired. So although we reached the dwelling limit, we were still able to get them 25% more on that limit, just based off of that research that we were able to do with the GC and with the attorney. And also sometimes we may get an adjuster involved at a state. So it just really depends on the complexity of the loss.
Right. And it's good. I mean, especially if consumers are listening now and they do have folks involved. I'm sure by now, many people that you talk to that have a major loss, if they get to that point of frustration, they do reach out to a public adjuster or they reach out to an attorney. And the message is to make sure you have a good estimator on your side. You only have one shot at that. And it's not like, you're putting anything in the estimate that should not belong there. Correct. But you're putting every single thing that does belong in there.
That's the key.
Right. It really is, because I've seen so many people get shorted. And I'll use the roofing example as the biggest one that stands out as many times they go there just to replace the roof, and to find out that there's tons of interior damage that they never saw. The yellow stain, a couple rooms here and there, it's not a big deal. And then you turn out later on, you fix the roof, you got more damage in the attic that you didn't know about, and then you have mold inside of your home, things that you now are not going to get reimbursed for later on. Correct.
And then you have the interior damage, you have soft metals that get affected, you have elevations that get affected, window gaskets that get damaged. So a homeowner doesn't have the trained eye to look for these things, so that's why it's extremely important not only to get a public adjuster, but to make sure that your public adjuster has an estimator that knows what they're doing.
That's right. And if they are working with a public adjuster or somebody does need to reach out to you, how do they get a hold of you?
They can reach out to me via email, angel at A2Z Estimates.com.
Is that a T-O or 2?
The A, the letter, the number 2, the letter A, the number 2, the letter Z, estimates.com. So it's angel at A, the number 2, Z, estimates.com. And you can also go to our website. It's www.A2Zestimates.com with a 2.
Nice. Very good. And great question on that, because I was going to go TO with that as well.
Because,
details are important.
Makes a difference.
Right. It really does.
Very good question.
So the folks that you're looking for really are, you're a public adjuster yourself.
I am.
So do you work claims currently?
I do, but not under A2Z Estimates. I work claims under a different firm, but with A2Z Estimates, I help out a bunch of public adjusters.
That's awesome. And so that's great because you have a big coverage area. Anywhere where they are that needs your help, you can be able to help them out. And it's a pretty quick process as well. Is that right?
Yes, sir. It's most estimates, depending on the complexity, they can take about 24 to 48 hours to be completed. Now, if it's a multi-million-dollar loss, obviously that takes a lot more time.
Take a little bit longer.
And we have to sit down and go over the scope. But most estimates, 24 to 48 hours.
Awesome. Well, check us out online, www.raflorida.org with the Restoration Association of Florida to learn more about Angel and his business and other members here of our association. We're going to take a break. Give some thanks to our sponsors. We'll be right back. All right. We're back live on 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell every Monday night, 7 p.m. I hope it's not 7 a.m., 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then we're live streaming after that, or at least recorded here live, and then put on every type of streaming thing that you can think of. iTunes, Spotify are the biggest ones I can think of. Check us out on Spotify. You can listen to every show that we put on, even back years ago when we were on for, I think, 2 hours on the show. So you'll hear that as well as what we are doing now for the 1 hour show. And you have another shot at it, both on our website, contractortalkpodcast.com, or on our YouTube page. Like us, subscribe us there. We're powered by the Restoration Association of Florida. Check us out online, www.raflorida.org. All right, so we're talking today with Hans Kennon. One call, that's all. No, one call to, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on his new slogan here at Kennon Law. One call to Kennon Law. That's all you need. I just added the need part. I don't know why. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But we were just talking about hopefully the thought of bringing back a consumer protection piece that's been around since 1893 or something like that, and then taken away in 2022, only to expose later on that the insurance companies were behind hiding all of the data, what they called "quote unquote" privileged, to show that they were overpaying their subsidiaries to the tune of billions and billions of dollars, while they were showing a very, very low profit margin. So much so that some of the subsidiaries had to give their money back to them so they could pay claims. But on top of that, they took away bad faith. They took away many mechanisms for consumers to get back at insurance companies in case they were wronged, to the point that there's a separate action for bad faith. They don't have attorney's fees any longer, meaning that they can continue to wrong people, slow pay them, no pay them, and to where we saw the citizens denied 77% of all Hilton. I like to call them the Hilton twins. I always do that. But for Milton and for Helene, both storms combined, 77% of all of the claims filed were denied or paid under deductible. Then you had Snake Farm at number 2, 50%, and Allsnake there at 47%. So big numbers for the top 3 insurers in the state of Florida, and they were just getting away with bloody murder. Now we're seeing that the information is coming out, that the House is holding committees, and to where they're bringing in insurance company executives, and they're putting people on the stand and asking them these hard questions and making them put out the numbers that we all know that existed, which is all this fraud on the insurance company side to underpay themselves, basically, and are under the short claims while they're overpaying subsidiaries to show that they had a very, very low profit margin. So we hope that things are going to change this year. You're on the FJA property committee.
Well, we're on a committee that helps analyze and write those bills as they go up the hill, as they would say. Senate Bill 426 we talked about for a few minutes in the first half hour. That's a Senate bill that we believe would put the consumer essentially almost back to where they were before, which is really what we're looking for.
Right.
House Bill 1551 certainly is helpful. We always want everything to make it through its committee, make it out to the floor for the debate. That one we don't believe is quite as effective, but again, and I hate to be a beggar can't be a chooser, but I mean we need something to help the consumer, and we're finally seeing that. As I like to mention, a couple of years ago, people were scared about insurance in the industry, scared about losing their coverage. Now they're just mad about being treated poorly, and while they were scared, legislature didn't do anything except go, we have to do this. We have to do what the insurance companies tell us. or else we won't have any insurance, or everything's going to go bad. Similar like in 2009 when all the doctors were going to leave.
Right.
They were all going to give up their houses in Palm Beach. They were all moving to Minnesota. They couldn't handle one more year of working here in Florida.
Right.
Similar type discussion. And after 2 years, after taking away all the consumers' rights, they're finally going, oh, wait a minute. You can't deny everything and then raise my rates every year. And then everything that was disclosed to OIR in 2022 told them it was all a lie. Mm-hmm. They didn't give it to any of the legislators. And then December of 22, all these changes go through. I mean, it's really scandal level type stuff when there's a report that literally discloses what should have happened, and it's literally put into a box or a bag or thrown under a rock. So the legislature can pass whatever DeSantis wanted that year.
Right, and the OIR was brought up in this committee, and you had the previous chair of the OIR, David Altmaier, there to testify, to basically say that he didn't know anything about it.
It was a draft.
Right.
That was it. But no one sent it back to get it corrected or fixed or whatever they thought. No one really knew what was wrong with it, but it was a draft.
Right. And then apparently when the new guy came in, it just got lost in the shuffle.
Because the new guy came in,
Yarowinsky
he came in January of 23, as I recall.
Right.
And he said he didn't find out about it until the subpoena finally came in November of 24, just a couple of months ago. So basically, it was in his office.
Did he not clean the office for that long? The guy's a pig then. I mean, is he not?
It's as dusty as the mic stand in his studio that nobody ever cleans.
Just open the drawer, bro.
That's terrible.
But, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we all knew was happening there in Tallahassee. And the crazy thing is, while these bills were going on, I was madder than a wet hornet up there. And, all the lobbyists and all the Republicans sitting around in a circle. We were about 14 of us in there. And I'm like, they can't do this. This is crap. There's no way. And everyone's like, listen, man, the governor's going around threatening anybody that goes against him that he'll run somebody else in the primaries against us. This was right before the seats changed and all that. So he had some power there to actually do what they were saying. The bills never came from any of the sponsors. The bills came from the governor's office. Matter of fact, when they filed the bill, the Restoration Association of Florida, I made sure that we filed suit the very next business day after this was filed, which was over the holiday, but then finally that Tuesday afterwards, boom, we filed suit on it just to find out, which was, you can't sue the governor. And the funniest thing is that we sued everybody else, but we sued the Construction Licensing Board, DBPR, anybody that can give a fine or a penalty, because that's who you can sue. Well, who answers the complaint? The governor's office. And then I'm like scratching my head, going, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think that's supposed to happen. And then like a month later, you get a motion to intervene by the governor's office, right? Citizens, National Fire and Marine, and some of the random insurance company. I was like, what in the world is happening? Just to go to the hearing, the motion to dismiss hearing, when he was super popular there in Tallahassee, to where the judge reads the motion to dismiss order that was already pre-typed there. And again, I'm not a lawyer, but I think that's bad. That was set up like that. We didn't have a chance. The appeal didn't have a chance. Nothing had a chance because they were just so set on, no, it was really important to the governor. It was really important to the people of the state of Florida that we have this change. All to know that was all false. It was all under BS. And we had it right there sitting in the OIR's office for everybody to see. And even the adjusters were going up there in those committees that were wrong, the adjusters that were hired by the insurance companies, there with proof, running around Tallahassee. I was there too in Tallahassee, and you heard them at every single committee saying, I have this proof. They frauded. The insurance company frauded this estimate. They left my name on the estimate. It was $40,000. When the homeowner got it, it was paid under deductible, no amount paid out, or it was denied, whatever it was, and they left their name on it. He goes, I didn't write those estimates. Yeah. So they were committing fraud under the license of the adjuster that went out. And so they were tired of that. So they got fired from that as well. And they were up there, I have proof of this. They submitted the proof the very next day, and then they still passed the laws, even knowing that the proof was right there. NOIR had it in their office as well, the numbers from all the insurance companies that were overpaying their subsidiaries. And none of the reasons why they didn't have money to pay claims were the reasons that were stated. they were saying at the end of it, they were saying attorneys, roofers, restoration contractors, everybody but them. We called it the boogeyman every year. You know, it's like every year they pointed the finger at a different boogeyman. This is the reason why we're raising rates. And they massive law changes with nothing to where with no two words together where it said premium reduction anywhere in those all those bills that passed. Excuse me. We had 3 special sessions and 1 major session after that where it changed the landscape for property insurance and then thereby all insurances with medical, property, medical. I already said that, and auto and life as well. So all those major changes and 0 results. We still see all the premiums still raising and increasing. Yeah. And side note, Hans, are they still working on MBI this year to try to push that through?
Yes, mandatory bodily injury is a priority of House Speaker Perez, and it's been something they've been trying to pass through.
Is it up to 25 or 50,000? I
think it's up to $50,000 in liability coverage currently in the state of Florida. I get phone calls from people and I say, "What type of auto coverage do you have?" And they go, "I have full coverage." I went, well, that's a lot of things.
Right.
Because full coverage in the state of Florida is $10,000 in PIP, which covers your medical bills, and $10,000 in auto property liability for the person you may have run into. So there's no bodily injury coverage, there's no uninsured motorist, there's no comprehensive, there's no collision, there's no towing, there's no roadside. None of those things are included. Yet you can say with 100% confidence you do in fact have full coverage under Florida law.
My goodness. And so I heard that over the, well, they pushed a bill to Governor DeSantis. I think that was the 25,000 mandatory MBI.
Right. That was 2021. They passed it both houses, first time ever. And it went to the governor and he actually vetoed it because there was no, which last time I actually thought he did something good was at least his reasoning for that was there was no proof that premiums would not go through the roof. By adding in mandatory bodily injury. And for all the years the insurers have wanted this coverage, no one could tell them what it was going to cost. Right, I mean, like no one came forth and said, wait, we ran a deck sheet. This is, I mean, all they do, I say, all insurers do all day is count money, take in premiums, and determine risk. And nobody showed up and said, Governor, don't worry about it. Here it is. This is what here's going to cost a 20-year-old, a 25, a 30, male, female. You know, all those things are things they determine every day when you write for a quote. They were bamboozled by the concept of trying to provide the governor with some proof of what it's going to cost. And he said that again recently. His concern about mandatory bodily injury, as it was in 2021, is that no one's really telling him what it's going to cost. Right. So they've had 4 years since they passed it last time, and no one sat down and put a pen to paper. And they're like, all right, let's carry the wand.
Right, right. That's wild. And with premiums through the roof, I think at this point doesn't really matter, right? I think we do need the coverage because of we just need the coverage. So many uninsured motorists out there. This really covers those the people that do think they have full coverage insurance. I do the air quotes there. Exactly right. You think you're in good hands. You think you're covered, and maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But I think this is going to be good for consumers. We'll see if he's actually going to sign it this year. I think maybe if they get what they want, but we'll see if they're going to pick auto over property or try to do both this year. It might be a big swing for us in the state of Florida. But we'll give some thanks to our sponsors. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back to Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. All right. We're back live on 94.9 FM and 950 on the AM dial here in the Central Florida area. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. We also film it. We're on our YouTube page, so check us out there. If you missed the show live, you definitely want to like, subscribe us there. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever else that you can think of social media wise, and then check us out on Spotify, the easiest way, or iTunes. Catch every show there. I would say by Wednesday or Thursday of the same week, we put it out on Spotify and iTunes, and it comes on pretty quick on our YouTube page as well. Within the same week that we record on Mondays, and by the middle of the week, we are on every place you can think of, just in case you miss us here on Monday night, and or the Missing the Dapper Suit of the Week by Hans Kennon over here. One call to Kennon Law. That's all you need. Man, I'm getting better at that, man. I feeling pretty good about it. Feeling pretty good. But we have our special guest today with us. We're sponsored by the Restoration Association of Florida, raflorida.org. You'll see members like Angel with A2Z Estimates and others that can help you out in your insurance claim needs. When you have a property damage loss, you want to talk to somebody like Angel. He's here with A2Z Estimates, and he is the person you want to call if you're working with an expert already, a general contractor. This is the one time you're going to need to get out your pen and paper. It always happens where somebody's working on their home, and then the contractor comes in and says, hey, let's look at all this damage. We found all this additional damage, and I think it's from the storm, but they don't have any experience in insurance-related writing, right? But they're great contractors, but then they write a lump sum bid, right? Which is basically line items. It's going to say replace roof and then a number, right? It doesn't say anything about, removing all of this. And if there's boards that are messed up, they're going to replace the boards. None of that stuff is detailed, right? And they're going to go interior drywall repair, and they're going to lump it all together. And it could be 3 different rooms that need drywall repair and then a number, right? And then they're like flooring and then a number and then paint and then a number. That's it. You got 4 line items on $100,000 loss. So what's going to happen when the insurance company gets that?
Well, funny enough, when I worked for the insurance companies, I would get these type of estimates all day, every day, even from public adjusters, surprisingly. So I do my best to do a comparative estimate, but most of the time I would have to call them and ask them for additional information, sort of like kind of what I do now as an estimator, right? So I would have to call them and ask them, hey, can you make it in Xactimate format, pretty please, or give me some more information here?
Right, and I'll help draft it for you or something, right?
Correct. So I would essentially do their job for them to validate their estimate. But when you have a company like mine or like ours, A2Z Estimates, we will help you with that. So a lot of contractors do not know how to present the estimate to the insurance company. And although the policy doesn't say you have to present it in an Xactimate format, it actually helps a lot to the adjuster.
It moves it a lot faster.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a lot of times when contractors are waiting 30, 60, 90 days to get paid, when they use our services, they normally get paid within 14 to 30 days because the estimate is presented in a way that the insurance company doesn't have to call them.
It's a complete package, something they can do that, like you said, when it's sent to them in a full, complete form, they don't even need to pick up the phone. They can complete their package on their end because they have a job to do, right?
Correct.
So they have to put all that together and then file it to their system so it does get paid. To your point, it'll accelerate the claim. So if you're a consumer listening now and your general contractors turn in this lump sum bidding that I was talking about and you have 4 line items on a big loss, then I think you need to call Angel or at least recommend it to your contractor so we can contact Angel to write an Xactimate line item detailed estimate. If they were to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you?
They can reach me via phone at 561-571-2991. And again, via email at angel@A2Z, the estimates.com, and also through our website, www.A2ZEstimates.com.
Perfect. That's awesome. Wow. And that's exciting because if I was dealing with the insurance company my first time and I get the insurance adjuster on the phone and they're telling me you need to get 3 estimates for your roof, 3 estimates for the interior, 3 estimates for painting, 3 estimates for the flooring, I would just be pulling my hair out going, "Oh my God, this is crazy. There's no way. What's your value of time, on this?" And so just alone, that would then want me to give you a call and say, I need you to intercede here. Because Hans and I talk about this a lot, is that this whole insurance claim process is like a chess match,
It is.
and by you filing the claim, you're pushing your chess piece forward, they're responding, you're back and forth. And if they happen to deny you or come up with a different estimated amount, unless you challenge it, is there a dispute? Because if you don't challenge it, then and you don't push your piece forward, then they'll just shut the claim down. Then the claim is closed.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. So what a lot of adjusters try to do, at least with contractors, is that they'll say, "Hey, you're not an attorney or a public adjuster, so you can't really negotiate on behalf of the insured," even though the contractor has good intentions on educating the adjuster, right? They're not necessarily telling them how to negotiate the claim. They're simply educating the adjusters, and that rubs the adjusters off the wrong way. So you try to get one shot at this. It's like an Eminem song. You get one shot, guys. So you get one shot to present it right, and that's why you have to make sure you have a good estimating company, because if you have a wrong estimate or a company that writes the estimate in a way that the insurance company is going to question everything, it's going to delay everything. The homeowner is going to be upset. You're going to be upset because you're incurring costs that you don't need to incur, at least at that point in time, and everybody just loses. So when you have a good estimator, the whole process is a lot simplified, a lot easier, and a lot smoother.
Yeah, I have a question for you. You seem like you've been in this industry for quite a while, right?
15 years, more or less, yeah.
Nice. In your experience, what would be the most obscene claim that you've gotten involved in, meaning that was just a crazy denial and you've got the biggest recovery for them?
Yeah. I mean, off the top of my head, a claim that I helped an elderly lady. So she had a contractor. The contractor called me and he said, "Hey, look, man, the insurance company says that this is below deductible." I went out with the contractor as a consultant. I went ahead and did a thorough inspection, and we had an estimate at around, her deductible was $7,600. And our estimate was around $233,000. So it was a tile roof. They had interior damage. She was 94 years old. Wow. And I felt horrible for this lady. So I did a thorough inspection with our contractor. Once it was all settled, we went through the appraisal process. I believe we settled at around 168. However, because there are certain line items that there was just no coverage for, right? So like the screen enclosure was a huge screen enclosure. It was around $50,000. There was no coverage for that. So unfortunately, we can't go.
Via exclusion, or was it not connected, or what?
It was excluded because the damages were from high winds. So if the damages were from something else, like a vehicle or a boat, because it was right on the intercoastal, they would have covered it. So because the cause of loss was hurricane, that was specifically excluded under the policy.
Interesting. I had a client, luckily the firm did, not I. It was someone else had it. They go to appraisal with the public adjuster. Public adjuster calls and says, "Hey, great news! We got, I think it was $90,000 on an appraisal award."
It's awesome.
So we get the award. So one of the lawyers thinks this is good news because he's told it's good news, and he calls the client and said, "Hey, good news! We got an appraisal award for $90,000." So it comes back in, $60,000 of it was for an excluded pool cage. So then he had to call the client back and go, "You remember I told you 90? Yeah, that's not 90. I mean, it was a disaster."
Wow.
And no one had done anything. Well, the PA should have known, because when you're horse trading, which is what appraisal is, you don't horse trade in stuff that's excluded.
Correct.
I mean, you say, look, put an extra $5,000 on this, $5,000 on that.
But there was 2 signatures though.
Yeah. So everybody signed off. I mean, the guy signed off on it. I mean, he called to tell us he was happy.
The carrier's got to pay it though, right?
No.
Sometimes they don't. Yeah, sometimes they will, or like Hans said, they'll just say, "Look, it's excluded under the policy." Yeah. Although there was a number on that piece or on that line item, there's nothing for us to pay on that.
So the guy was so happy with the amount. Again, the idea is if it's excluded, because all it does is set the amount of the loss.
Correct.
It doesn't set the amount of payment.
Correct.
So that was a situation like we're talking about where it's excluded, and just this guy was so happy he got so much put onto the pool cage, and they didn't have to pay any of it.
Wow.
It's a shame.
Oh, man.
It's ironic because in Florida we have high wind events all the time.
Right.
And for them to exclude a screen enclosure, which is extremely susceptible to high wind, it's just a slap in the face.
And often I find tiki huts are excluded.
No kidding.
like by word, like not like just like a type of thing. Like it'll say, I forget ASI, one of them. I remember it used to say, like chickadees. It was a weird list. It's like chickadee tiki huts, and all. I'm like, they actually put the word tiki hut in your insurance policy. You don't think?
I can't even keep the little umbrellas in my drink, for crying out loud.
Right, much less your tiki hut gets blown over in a high wind event.
Right. Oh, good for them.
Okay, one thing I want to talk about for a sec. There was an article I had, it was in the newspaper, in the Sentinel, and it's gone. I had it in my house, and the reason I think my robot vacuum ate it, I think, because there was a bill put forth that would have allowed property insurers and auto insurers to do their estimates for liability using AI as opposed to any people. And
holy crap!
I mean, it was a big article in the Sentinel, and I took it out specifically, and I think the robot was upset by it. Didn't want me to talk about it too much in depth, There was a bill.
It knew what you were going to say.
Exactly. It was like Hal from 2000, from Space Odyssey. But yeah, there's an article in the paper that they said was not going to go to the committee, but there was a bill to allow artificial intelligence to adjust claims.
Already they're allowing for them
insane.
to write it without being there, right? With just photos and a phone call or something, right?
Wow.
So I guess I was just going to ask Angel, just in case. There's no use of artificial intelligence in the preparation of your estimate, is there?
No,
Okay.
not at all. Not
just
at all.
Just because I think people want to know there's a person
That would be
behind
tight
it.
if there was. I mean,
That
think
would be
about
I
it.
mean, it
great.
would be
Can
interesting.
you
I'm not
imagine? They
saying
can
just-
pump out estimates at a lot higher
A
rate.
lot quicker. Just,
Right,
just give me linear feet.
overnight.
Right.
But then you have to be like the law firms who submit briefs with cases that don't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Those
Yes.
ones, it's like at least check out the case law. I mean, a lot of the blah 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 can get it, but at least reference the actual cases.
Just
right?
organized. But yeah, but that was what was interesting that the bill was not going to go through. I was just thinking, can you imagine like if you got an adjustment in and whatever it said, you have to try to depose somebody and they go,
It's AI.
There is nobody. Who
Right.
is it?
Right.
It's Hal.
You're
Isn't
gonna
that a
depose.
violation of your constitutional right for you to be able to speak to your accuser? Like say, hey, look.
I mean, what do you? I mean, I don't know what you do. And like I said, you set a deposition, and they could. The lawyer was going to say, well, there isn't an adjuster. No adjuster did it.
Well, that's wild.
Yeah, I'm going to find the article though, because I'm going to dump out
very
the
interesting.
vacuum cleaner and make it dig it up.
And as you saw, I mean, we've the changes that we've seen over the past couple of years are just ludicrous in a way to where it allows them to make these adjustments. Like I was saying, I think it was encouraging video phone calls and such like that from your insurer. Basically, you got an accident. It's like, oh, okay, turn the phone around, and show me, and things like that. And they have you do the walk around, and then they're able to spit out their estimate based off of that walk around without really inspecting the damages.
Yeah.
It's funny because in Travelers, they were implementing virtual inspections. So they're like, if it's a room, you can try to do it remotely. So then they would try to train you, measure the door so you can I'm like, no, guys, that's if we get the post, we're going to lose that claim all day, every day.
Right,
But
right.
I hated doing that, and I'm glad I left that side of the industry, and now I'm on this side.
Glad you're on the light side. No kidding.
Right.
Well, we thank you for being a part of the show.
Thank you. Thank you so
our guest
much.
for the Restoration Association of Florida. We are at Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, powered by the Restoration Association of Florida. Check us out, www.raflorida.org. Inquire about membership. If you're a local contractor, definitely check us out for that purpose alone, to network with others like you who are in this industry to help consumers here, not only in Central Florida, but all the state of Florida, and your time of need, which is your insurance claim that may have happened from one of the storms, which you still have time. There's only one call to Kennon Law if you have damage to our Hurricane Hilton. I like it. The Hilton twins. I like that. Milton or Helene. Yeah, there you go. Eventually I'll get that.
Or Mylene.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks. See you.